and you list your top 3 zip codes that you did work, that is where you could confidently spend 70% of your marketing budget.
Welcome back to another episode of the Skid Steer Nation podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Deemer, and this show is brought to you, of course, by none other than Skid Steer Nation, your home for high-quality American-made skid steer attachments. Visit skidsteernation.com to find your next attachment to dominate your niche. Also, if you're struggling with growing your business or you want to take it to the next level, head over to groundbreakinggrowth.com. Right there is our coaching consulting business. We help you define, profit, and scale your enterprise. Book a free discovery call with me, nobody else, just me, at groundbreakinggrowth.com. Guys, this episode is exciting for me. We're going to go deep in the weeds and some marketing stuff. I've got a marketing guru, my friend Dave Carroll, joining us from the show. Dave owns a business called Dope Marketing, and Skid Steer Nation and Dope Marketing have partnered up to present and provide to you guys print shop services right from skidsteernation.com. So if you head over to the website, you'll see it right there in the top menu, print shop. We want to be able to get you guys your business cards, your flyers, your A-boards, your yard signs, and anything else in that regard. So we're going to dig deep into the benefits of some old school guerrilla traditional marketing. And Dave and I are just going to jam out, man. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Usually it's always about hearing the story of an excavation business owner, the struggles and peaks. And today we just get to talk strategy.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Dope Marketing, how long you've been doing it, like what your operation kind of looks like and what you guys specialize in.
Yeah, for sure. So my background, I have owned a exterior cleaning company here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area we're going on our 15th year in business now. I keep forgetting that it's already 2024, even though we're halfway through it already. That company I've been pretty phased out of for the past 7-8 years. But I cut my teeth in the home service space. And, regardless of what you're doing for a living, whether you're doing excavation stuff, demo stuff. I know, Ryan, your audience has a ton of different niches and services along the way. But where I really look at like marketing, building a brand, building a company, and just generating work from the right customer, it led me to starting Dope Marketing. Now, at Dope, it's kind of easier for me to explain what we don't do than what we do, because we are unlike a lot of the traditional marketing companies that you hear about. At Dope, we focus on print and direct mail, and that's it. No Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, billboard, website, AdWords. We don't do any of it. We specifically focus on helping businesses implement strategies with traditional marketing. And outside of being a cheeky name, Dope actually stands for data on previous engagement. We help businesses make data-driven decisions with cross-channel marketing. And we'll get into cross-channel marketing and omni-touch marketing. We had a lot of time to talk today, but where I really saw a pain or a need specifically in the home service space, like local business owners working with homeowners at their house, is just direct mail and print is really, really hard. Like a lot of us understand our trade, we understand our service, but we're not designers, we're not data experts, we don't know how to set up the tracking and the automations and all the stuff that goes along with that. And there's so many companies to choose from when you get into the digital side of marketing, but the traditional side, I always kind of joke, me and Ryan were talking about this before, like the print industry is ran by a bunch of 70-year-old fat guys that suck at golf whose kids don't want to work for them. We at Dope take a little bit of a different approach, and we look and we say, those printers, those things are big computers. Let's make them talk to each other. Let's understand like who we're putting what in front of, how to be intentional with strategies. We had some cool data, some cool stats that we figured out along the way, but we started Dope. We're going into our 4th year of business, but it feels like with your guys' companies, it feels a little bit longer than that. Our leadership team has a bunch of experience from we're a software company. If you'd have told me 3 years ago, I don't know, print shop, I'd tell you were crazy. But like most things in life, you try something out, maybe you try to rely on partners or vendors or other stuff, it doesn't quite work out. And so you just end up saying, screw it, man, I'm going to do it myself. And we went from 3 years ago, a 1,200 square foot print shop to we're now in over 30,000 square feet here in Minnesota, producing everything we do in-house. So yeah, it's been a road. It's been a journey. But here we are at Dope.
So that's awesome. I need to take one little sidebar real quick, because for the last month, I've been hammering my audience on being specialists and having a niche.
Amen.
And I just want to reiterate, guys, he only does print and direct mail, and he's went from 1,200 to 30,000 square foot. By offering less, he's actually gaining more. So you're just another life lesson that find a niche, stay in your lane, get really fucking good at what you do, and offer the best service to your customers.
It's just so easy to chase the squirrels. And I'm as much of a visionary to a fault as any of you. But one thing that I've really done since I started this company is just have those blinders on. There's so much opportunity. There's so much you can do for their customers. There's so many things, but I'm a data guy. And I always like to say, cliches exist because they're real. And when you look at these things you've heard your whole life, more money, more problems. The grass is always greener on the other side. You are the byproduct of the 5 closest people that you spend the most time around. When you just focus on doing that thing that you are the best at, and just business gets to a spot where, yeah, it's fun, yeah, exciting, yeah, it's stressful, yeah, it's hard, but real true success in business, it's just getting to the boring shit. The systems, the processes, the things that just, seasonal business or not, the thing that just keep the gears turning month over month. And once you get that stuff set up in your company, then you can go do all the other fun, shiny shit and chase the squirrels and shake the hands and kiss the babies and save the cats from trees. And all that stuff is there. It's not going anywhere either. But when you truly look at how to I like to say, as a business owner, you should solve 1 to 4 problems perfectly for your customer. Agreed. It can be more. Yes, there's extenuating circumstances, but if you just look at there's a way to look at all the jobs. We'll get into this in this conversation. There's a way to look at all the jobs you did last year and simply make data-driven decisions of who you're going to get your marketing dollars in front of. There's 2 stats I really always like to throw out here. 3 to 7% of your ideal customer is actually actively searching for what you do right now, today, while you're watching or listening to this. You're 3 to 7% of people who need what you have are looking for it right now. The other 93 to 97% of people that will eventually use your services, it's your job to stay in front of them. And it's so easy to get spread out or put your messaging and your branding and your marketing all over the place. But there's a really simple exercise that you can go through to just look at the jobs you did last year. And there's another stat from a case study we did. The 50 nearest neighbors to the jobs that you do are 10 times more likely to hire you than some other random person on the other side of town.
Did you just say 10 times?
10 times more likely. Wow. The nearest 50. And it doesn't matter city area, rural area, any of it, because humans are predictable creatures. We all like to think that we're these unique little snowflakes or whatever. But sorry to burst your bubble. Humans are predictable creatures, and we do what makes us comfortable. And if you go back to cliches and you think about the home is where the heart is, the most comfortable thing we do every night is go to the bed we sleep on with the people that we love or care about in the house that we are the oversight. That's our thing, our home. Well, what do we do when we buy a home? We don't go live a bunch of random people that have nothing in common with us. We live in neighborhoods with people that live relatively the same lifestyle, have probably around the same age or amount of kids, can afford the house that you live in or the apartment in that neighborhood. We're condensed in these clusters of, it might not be that you're having a beer, sharing the lawnmower, hanging out in the cul-de-sac every single weekend with your neighbors. But when you go to the likelihood, one, of the people, if you put 10 people in a neighborhood in a room together, they're going to more likely than not make the same decision because they have the same type of life. They're doing the same type of things. But for us, home service business owners, it's even more important. Their house was built around the same year of the same materials by more likely than not 3 to 5 of the same builders in the area. So the problems that these people have are the things that are maintaining or upkeeping or fixing at their house. That's where you go to the nearest 50 people are 10 times more likely to hire you to have the same or similar problem, because if your driveway's cracked, if you have an outdoor living area, if you have a retaining wall you need done, if you have a pole barn you need put up, the people next door to the people that are already doing this just are more likely statistically to need to do the same thing or have the same problems. than some baller in some gated community that you once randomly had a job in that you thought was like the greatest thing ever. It's that predictability of business. Just the idea of like, what am I doing right now? How do I lean into it a little bit more? And that's where we get into some of the fun marketing side and make it like a little bit simpler.
I love that. And I always say, I agree with you. I didn't realize the numbers were that staggering at 10X. But there's another aspect too that we always talk about, and that's the keeping up with the Joneses aspect.
Amen.
Man, when your neighbor gets the driveway seal coated, you're like, well, mine looks like garbage now. I need to get mine done too.
We call it a dope. We call it neighboritis. In some of the
neighboritis.
Industries, yeah, in some of the industries, you think about like the door knocking industries, the roofing, the alarms, solar, that type of stuff. You ever drive through a neighborhood that had like a storm in it before? Just look at the yard signs, and that one neighborhood where that guy just killed it. He's got like 8 signs out, and it goes to the touches, as humans being somewhat predictable creatures. So there was another study, Harvard grad, you too, right? Ryan, we both went to Harvard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right. Yeah, graduated last year.
That School of Hard Knocks division they got.
Yeah, exactly. Night school. So the average local business in the United States is getting 2 to 4 touches on their ideal customer. Harvard, our alma mater, did a case study 3 years ago, and they said it takes 7 to 11 touches at a minimum for a cold consumer to remember a brand. And historically, that used to be more predictable. You could look at like billboards or radio or TV and just say like, from this demographic or these people, like that stuff that's a whole nother conversation. But like those levels of marketing where you had to spend, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to get these touches and do whatever. We just live in a different world now. Like I'm not against digital marketing, and I don't think every business should only send direct mail or do print. It's a combined effort of different touches in front of the right people to build that trust. So what if you like put 10 business owners in a room and you split the room in half, and half the room was getting 2 to 4 touches on 1,000 people, and the other half of the room was getting 7 to 11 touches on 300 people? Who's going to have a better result for their business? I'm
going to guess it's going to be a 5X difference minimum.
Every time. Every single time. I mean, put the numbers into it depending on the market, the age of the businesses, the services they offer, like the close lead time, all that stuff. But when you really get down to it, it's like, we always want to do some new shit. And we don't take a step back. So there's a really simple exercise. No matter if you are managing your jobs on a spreadsheet and a CRM, and I know you guys have like some preferred vendors for that stuff, like wherever you're housing your jobs, just the address of the job that you did, when you did it, how much it cost. It could be QuickBooks, it could be anything. So wherever you have the addresses, if you go to the last 12 months and you put the addresses of all your jobs in a spreadsheet and you sort the spreadsheet by zip code and you list your top 3 zip codes that you did work, that is where you could confidently spend 70% of your marketing budget and grow just as much if you were spreading that out over the course of the year in a bunch of random places, because the data will tell you that the people in those areas, for whatever reason, whether you're tracking it or not, for whatever reason, you're doing something right there. Now you take those addresses from those 3 zip codes, you go to Google Maps, you upload them into Google Maps as if you were going to drive to them, like make a route. So now you can see it on a map. Where is the density for those of you in a rural market? Is it a certain smaller town or the outskirts or something where you got a Karen, a neighboritis, a soapbox person that was telling people about you on next door and it was great? Or if you live in more of like a metro area, the outskirts of a metro area where you just see like, for whatever reason, we have pockets of jobs in these areas. If you understand those top 3 zip codes of just where did you do the most work last year, and you just focus on getting a couple more of those touches in those zip codes, take it a step further to the Google Map exercise, you'll find little sweet spots of like kind of, now you look at those jobs. What did you do? Like, was there any consistency in the work that was being provided, the value of the job, the services you were doing, like whatever it was? And you're just looking for a little bit more like predictability, because unless like you're selling your business at the end of this year and you're having a fire sale, like I like to think about, Ryan, like 1 week decisions versus 1 year decisions in your business. Use a dating analogy, use a planting analogy, use a weight loss analogy. It's sprinkling the little seeds, because the more touches you get in those grouped areas, you're just going to more likely get more of that work that you're already doing. And that's where the real scale and growth happens.
I love it. And it is that simple. And again, we search so much for the new, latest, greatest thing that we overlook the simple, easy to do, boring tasks that generate the highest return.
Yeah. When you see these companies have been open for 15, 30, 50 years, whatever, a lot of them just build up that referral database, that customer data, but they did it because in a world 15, 30, 50 years ago, it was a little bit more simple to be like the local company, the local choice. There wasn't some new hot shot popping up around town or someone with all this crazy equipment that they overbought, or like whatever it was that we compete with in our industries. And it's just like, I think business owners, because it's so much easier nowadays with digital marketing. Again, I'm a huge proponent of dope marketing. We spend thousands of dollars every day to get in front of business owners just like you guys, so we can help solve 1 to 4 problems that you have in your company. But when I think about like how easy it is to do digital marketing, and I don't mean to get it right, but I mean to like log on your phone, target some homeowners, run some ad. Dude, I spent $400 on a boosted post. It didn't do shit. Never doing that again. And it doesn't work for my business. It's like, how are you positioning this stuff? Are you using Facebook for what it should be used for? Which my belief, just my 2 pennies, is like being intentional with people that engage with your stuff. So if you can set up basic, like people visit your website, they're going to see this video for a week or 2 after. People go to your social media, they're going to get explained how you're an authority, why you started your business, the problems you solve, the stuff to just like, instead of looking at it's so easy. And again, I will be full disclosure, I'm the marketing guy talking about this or whatever, but it's like, it's so easy to be like, I tried that. It doesn't work. Or, I need to see this return right away. And then if it works, I'll spend anything. Well, it's like, me too. How do you look at it and say, it makes sense to me that instead of like randomly spending $500 a month on Yelp or Angie's List or something like that, that if more people around my current job sites just knew who I was, they would be more likely to eventually call me. Like there's another stat, like the average American lives in their house for 5 to 7 years. The number one thing that an American, there's 90 million homeowners in the United States, 90% of them, the biggest investment that person, the check that Dave will hand to Ryan, the biggest check we'll ever exchange is for that house. Like when you buy that house, 90% of humans, 90% of people in the United States, 81 million, it will be the transaction of that house. Second, third, and fourth thing. It's not braces. It's not vacation. It's not, whatever, the mommy makeover or buying a car. It's none of that. It is maintenance, improvement, and upkeep to that property. Their kitchen, their backyard, their outdoor area, their living space, that big check. Like, dude, I just got an estimate for what my wife wanted done to our backyard versus what we're actually going to do to our backyard. It started at $450,000 for what we want done in our backyard. And I'm like, we might be able to take out like 200,000. Let's start there and look at kind of but it's like, you think about those investments as people move into their home, their kids get we have 5 kids. As our kids get older, we want to create this environment, like whatever. What my wife wants to do to our backyard right now will cost more than I'm going to pay for all 5 of my kids' first car. And so when you think about the investing in just people knowing who you are, that 93 to 97% of people that are not actively searching to get your services done right now, what work are you putting in the touches for them to know who you are, why you started your business, the problems you solve, how to hire a contractor like you, some of the pitfall, like what's your FAQ? What do you get asked on the phone when people are going through your estimate process? How do you put that content in front of more people using both digital and traditional marketing? And how does it all tie together? Like that's where the real, in my opinion, where like the magic happens.
Yeah. I've started creating like a new circle that I'm using to show guys in the coaching program. And it's just like, I call it like the marketing trinity. Like you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So like you've got your online digital social presence, then your online paid presence, and then your traditional on the ground type marketing.
Yep.
And people kind of get overwhelmed by that. I'm like, listen, there's enough people in your community you pick the app. I don't even care whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor. Just get really, really, really good at one of them.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be posting on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. Just get really, really good at posting on one of them.
If you can get in a habit of just, again, and it's so easy to say this and it's another thing to do it. If it's you, if it's your significant other that works with you in the business, if it's someone that works on one of your teams, labor crew, whatever, that's just half decent at video. Just get footage of what you're doing all day.
And honestly, Dave, I'll say this: it doesn't have to be half decent.
No,
I think the more real it is, the more engagement it gets. It's the produced ones that produce less viral results than the guy holding the cell phone just talking. Just start educating people on what you do, how you do it, and why you do it.
I was given some advice a long time ago that I have our cleaning crews still do this. One of the guys in the shop in the morning is just like, hey, these are the jobs we're going to do today. We're loading up the truck. Here's where we're going. We're excited, whatever. And when you get to the job site, of course, check in with the homeowner first, make sure it's good. But in your guys' industries, it's not like a lot of times you're like quick in and out, 1 day project. There's setup time. You're putting on a show. You're doing the stuff. Through the documentation, the before and after, just explaining to people what the hell you're doing all day. I got this huge piece of equipment. I'm digging this gigantic hole. There's a lot going on. Like that shit is interesting to people. And when you start looking at like the phases of a job, the documenting of that stuff, it's easy to get overwhelmed and big. Man, I'm not good on video, man. I don't have time to do that. Da-da-da-da-da. Knowledge builds trust and communication builds trust. And these people making these huge decisions to either take, they're taking a lot of money out of a bank account, they're taking out a big loan, or they're selling a kidney to afford some of these services. And when you really look at this, like how intimate of a decision that is, let alone if they're going to be happy with the work you're doing or not, just the financial investment and a lot of the commitments they're making in their one place of security in their home, how many more jobs would you close? How much easier would it be to present things if just like people had more of a reason to trust you? And outside of you being a good human that gives a fair price, does the job, doesn't collect the money till it's done, and is a man or woman of your word, what if you just put more shit in front of people that allowed them to be like, this is the right decision to go with this person because they've done things just like what I need done?
It's the law of reciprocity. If you give somebody, i.e. knowledge, they feel obligated to give you something back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, all right. I could talk concept and continue this train of thought for the whole hour, but it would defeat the purpose of bringing you in so we can get nitty gritty on some of this old school, traditional, still the workhorse. Like direct mail is still the number one workhorse option for businesses in the United States.
Amen. Think about, just targeting again. Like when you can it's one thing, like Ryan, have you been on Facebook today? Instagram?
Yes.
What was the last ad you saw?
Couldn't tell you.
No clue. But if I was sending you one postcard a week for 4 weeks in a row to your house, would you know me better or worse than you know me right now?
Absolutely better.
So it's just like, it goes to, some things have methods or ways of doing things that have gotten a little aged. And I think you put direct mail and a lot of print stuff in that bucket because it's not the same where you can spend $100 and maybe get 2 shitty leads from something on Facebook. But direct mail, I think, in a world of like so much like distraction and instant gratification and all this stuff, like it's one of the best ways to build your brand and target people in the right areas when complemented with other touches.
Yeah, I agree. So if you were like, let's say you're a 3-year-old business owner in the home services excavation, you're doing okay. You're a solo guy. You got one part-timer that helps out. So you're not like where you want to be yet. And you're like, all right, I'm revamping my marketing strategies. Like, how would you approach that from a local level from your point of view?
I would pull the last 10 jobs that I did. And again, I don't mean to like make this sound too easy. We do this at Dope. I don't ever want to make this like a sales pitch, but if an excavation company came to me today with what I know how to do, this is exactly what I would do. I would pull the nearest 25 neighbors of my last 10 jobs, and I would make sure that there was a yard sign coming out, like the stop sign coming out of their neighborhood. I'd make sure that was there. I'd make sure there was a postcard in their mailbox every week, every other week. I would look at their general area on Facebook, social media, get some touches in front of them. More than anything, it's like, depending on if you have more time or more jobs. If you're a solo guy with one helper and maybe you only got, one job going, 2 jobs going, something like that, and it's not work every day, dude, we used to walk around with big trash bags full of flyers or door hangers that we were putting on people's doors. And like, especially in the areas we were already working in, I would figure out how to get the most touches to the nearest neighbors of the last 10 jobs that I did immediately. Like,
Yeah.
because those are the people more likely to hire you. Now, depending, because I know with your audience, there's a lot of different niches or services. If you have a very, very simple service, something like we said, like driveway seal coating or demolition work or stump removal, like something like that, yard signs are one of my most favorite forms of marketing. I mean, like we have invested heavily now in the manufacturing of yard signs. That's because I built my business off of it. Like we were putting out 200 signs a week for my power washing company, because I always joke, like, you get people like, oh, I don't want to put signs out. That's sleazy. They just get taken. Da, 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 da. Well, dude, like I've had every threat come to me in the world about a yard sign. Gross misdemeanor. You're going to go to jail. You're going to get a fine. Look, I've been to jail before. I've never been to jail for putting out a yard sign in my life. And so like, dude, you can get 100 yard signs for what? $400 or $500, something like that. If you drive around for 4 hours on a Saturday and go put out 30 signs, and we can get into some of that. We have some deeper strategy around that, but like, dude, you go put out 30 signs on a Saturday morning or a Friday night or something like that. Let those things ride through the weekend. Depending on the services you offer, you're going to have anywhere from like low end 3 to 5, high end. Dude, we've had weekends just off one blast of signs. We've had like dozens of leads come in. And we're talking about when you have more time than you have money or jobs, what's your most valuable asset? Go spend your time.
Right.
The messaging in front of people. I think that gets a lot better served than some of the stuff we've related to in the past of like spending a couple $100 on a Facebook boost and then wondering why nothing happened.
Well, it's easy. It's easy. We like easy. We're humans. So sitting at my computer for 25 minutes, creating a quick post and giving my credit card information, super simple.
Yep.
Figuring out where to take signs and actually going out and manually doing it, difficult.
Sure.
But just like everything in business and life, the difficult things pay the biggest rewards.
Amen.
So we always couple with our guys, like you have to have a client avatar, your ideal core customer of who you're doing it. And once you have that avatar, so like you talk about that, you have the avatar, you have the top 3 zip codes. So now, okay, so Mary lives in this zip code. Where does she go to the grocery store? Where does she go to church? What gas station does she use? So now you can strategically place those yard signs where more Marys shop at the same store or go to the same church, because that's what you want, is more of Mary.
And it doesn't matter. This is where I love about these strategies. It doesn't matter if you're in a rural area and the biggest thing is like the Dollar General or the Walmart or the Ace Hardware or the whatever, or if you're in like a bigger city where you do have like maybe you're a higher end niche, a community or whatever, and you go to like the higher end grocery stores, the Whole Foods or that type of stuff. Did you just hit it on the head, man? If you just pop some yard signs out, like coming out of the gas stations in those areas, coming at like the parking lots where they have the Home Depot and the Kohl's and the Chipotle and stuff, the stop signs inside of those places, because those signs aren't getting pulled. They're staying up for a couple weeks. And it's just like, what I like with signs is give people the option. If you can give them a QR code to scan, people are so used to that stuff nowadays. If I was at my office, I'd show you guys.
Best thing to happen with COVID.
Dude, like the only
nobody knew what a QR code was till COVID.
No clue, no idea. And now from a 10-year-old to a 90-year-old, if they see one of those things, they know what to do. And that stuff gets so much more trackable too. I mean, when you again, it's where I love your guys' audience and the services you offer, because you do kind of like, you can niche. You're not working in the middle of the city doing this stuff. You have your niches, your pockets, your stuff where you're working and you know what these homeowners need. And something as simple as an entry-level service. Like I know not everyone does like stump grinding or something like concrete work and stuff like that. But when you think about like, when you go to yard signs or door hangers or that type of stuff, what's the easiest way to get someone introduced to your company? Because there probably are a lot of different offerings. Once you get on their property, you can look at a lot of different stuff or whatever. But like, what's the thing that you do that everyone knows about? Like they understand. If you say like foundation leveling. I'm like, I don't really know. I hope I don't need that. But
Right.
when you're
So example, if you're a septic company, put yard signs out for septic pumping.
yeah.
If you're a site and grading and site prep guy, put signs out for gravel driveway repair and installation.
Yeah.
If you're a land clearing guy, put it up for fence row clearing or blackberry removals or invasive species, the simple low hanging fruit, like what you're talking about. If you're doing basement dewatering systems and like waterproofing for homes, then promote yard drainage. Right. Everybody knows what a yard French drain is, but nobody knows what dewatering is.
No clue.
But once you're on, and I say this all the time, Dave, the hardest thing to do in the home service business is to get actually on the property of the customer. It is your job once you get on that property to look around, find out what other problems you can solve for them, and then present them in a way to make their life easier.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, we want to make that so complicated sometimes. Oh, well, I'm a special. You got to think about it like a guy told me a story one time, and think about it like you're sitting at the table eating, and the waiter's taking your order, and the chef, the talkative chef, the busybody guy's like coming out. He's like, "Oh, we make it like this, and the ingredients and the thing and the whatever." It's like, dude, I've been sitting here 40 minutes. I'm just hungry. Like, I don't care what all the technician mentality, the stuff, the thing. How do you do it? Where's the paprika and the stuff and the whatever? It's just like, dude, I have 100 fucking problems right now. I need the water out of my lawn.
That's hungry. Yeah.
And I'm hungry. So just like, you got to make it so simple, especially in what all you guys do for a living. There's so many things you can do. The scope of issues can change. You can uncover new problems. You can see these different things. But all anyone's ever looking for at their home is an expert that they can feel confident in, that can identify the problem and fix it. So to something as simple as like, Dave, Ryan, what do I put on my yard sign? The most simple shit that you do to understand in the world.
The one that most people need, not the most complex.
Amen.
And then the new thing that I've been kind of preaching and guys are having a lot of success with, they haven't been using dope yet because they're still going to their old school local print shop because nobody knows where to get print services online.
Sure.
So what I'm having these guys,
now.
I know, it's Skid Steer Nation. Go over visit the print shop. Getting door hangers made up, but not to promote your business or to promote a special. You get them to simply inform the neighbors that you'll be working on a property in their neighborhood. And if there's any concerns of where the truck's parked or any noise or anything they need, please call me so we can handle it directly. So you're using it as a touch point of consideration. They're going to go, shit, these guys are really professional.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're getting a new retaining wall? Mine's kind of garbage too. I wonder if they do driveways too. Or, and it's a super simple, non-salesy touch point that actually speaks volumes about your business and really leaves a lasting impression on all the neighbors.
All day. We got that right by accident in our power washing business. We would have, we do a lot of like multi-unit, like siding cleaning for the power washing stuff. And the property managers would always forget to leave the notices. So there's cars in the driveway, there's windows open, there's all this shit going on. We started charging the property managers to do the notice, and all of them hire us for it, to put the flyers out on the doors before it makes our job easier. Oh, this company's so professional. They're so great, the whole thing. And you're just like, with homeowners, it's such a no-brainer. And you do like a caution tape, like warning, type of, hey, we're going to be in the area. If a dumpster's in the way, if a truck's in the way, if something's there, if you ran over a nail, whatever, here's the site manager's information, put a team photo on the back, let us know. Now they've seen that brand and that countertop conversation that the husband and wife, oh, did you see Jimmy's getting his thing done? Yeah, this company, whatever. But now they're seeing you online. They saw the yard sign. They saw your truck with the magnet or the wrap on it. They saw the stuff. They saw you at the gas station and your hoodie looking good. All of those things add up to those 7 to 11 touches to just get more trust. And so like being intentional, not only with getting your brand in front of people, but what's your messaging? We're the most trusted company in town. We're the most awarded company in town. We have the best customer service in relation to whatever spin you put on it for your messaging, but leaning into it and just like, especially with you guys, with these longer projects, you're on site longer, it's a production. you probably already do a good job 8, 9 out of 10 times of communicating what's going on the job site, giving updates, going through everything. Now imagine if you were taking another step to get to touch with the neighbors, to just let them know what's going on. You're in the area, you're wrapping up. What if you just made it for you or your helper, or for some of you that already have all this set up, where like the nearest 10, 15 houses, that day you were wrapping up a job, go drop off a $10 Starbucks card. Just like, hey, we know we're kind of loud, making noise. I left my business card and a coffee card if you guys ever need anything. What like the heartwarming conversation that happens, and it might not be the homeowner, it might be their nanny whose dad is a baller that needs his land cleared. And like, it's just the little touches that go so far with that stuff.
Absolutely. So we use that same trick, or we teach that same trick about the gift cards at time of service, to say, hey, if you go to, I'm going to send you the link. If you go to Google and fill out the review right now while I'm standing here, I'll give you grocery card, gas card, Amazon card, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise you're tracking them down 7 times to get that review.
As in life, everything is pay to play when it comes down to.
Yeah.
And if you just look at like, if someone had a good experience, they probably have all the intention to leave a review, but how can you ask? How can you give them a reason? How can you go through it? The coffee, the gift card, the Dunkin' Donuts thing, it's always an easy win.
Yeah. And you've actually, to transition again, for your more in-depth clients that you work with, because you have a software you provide that you can do some crazy shit with direct mail, but you've also got a really cool cookie box.
Yeah. So we, again, if you would have told me I'd been in the cookie business 3 years ago, I'd have told you you're crazy. That was not really the plan. But we have an offering where you can do a custom box with like your logo. It's all like, we design it for you. 3 cookies, handwritten note saying thank you with the tissue paper, and you can automate that. I think a lot of you guys are using it as a Jobber.
Yeah, we just kind of partner with Jobber to give them a 20% discount and 14-day free trial. So it'll be in the show notes if anyone's interested, and you connect with Jobber seamlessly.
Directly integrate with Jobber. Yeah. You can make it so like when you mark a job over a certain price or a certain service, they can get a handwritten note, they can get a cookie box, they can get a postcard asking for the review with you and your business partner back to back, whatever. Like,
and your team helps integrate and set all that up at the beginning. And then you, as the business owner, as long as you are tracking jobs in the pipeline and marking them complete, the software does all the work for you.
Just like you don't need our job digging a hole. We do not need much of your help setting up the automations, the design, and everything that we do at Dell.
Right. Yeah. Because I think that's the part that scares most business owners away.
Completely. It does. I mean, we're not designers. We're not, whatever. When we started our business, we weren't doing any of these things. I think it's really important to understand, like, it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Focus on what you're good at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, from day one, because I went through this exercise with businesses in the past, from day one, everyone's like, oh, you're an attachment store? And I'm like, actually, no, I'm a marketing company. We just happen to sell attachments. Yeah. Because when you're on online sales, you're a marketing company.
All day. I
don't care if you sell dog bowls, stickers, skid steer attachments, preformed buildings. Like, if you don't have eyeballs, you ain't selling shit. You're a marketing company.
Amen. Absolutely.
So, yeah. So the other thing that you guys offer that I think is really cool, I mean, you got your brochures and your trifolds, you can do case studies, you can do little things, but I love the A-frame signs.
Yeah.
They're 2-sided. I always tell the guys that we work with, like, buy 2 of them.
Just have them in the back of the truck to pop up.
But buy 2 of them. You put your logo on the left side and you put the services that you kind of do or another project being completed by. And then when you stagger those 2 in the front yard of the house you're working in that day, it says Ryan's excavation, another driveway completion, because now you've got visibility both ways, and you set them out while you work and you take them when you go home.
Yep. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I mean, especially when you're in those higher traffic areas, or something where people are driving by. And again, it's another just great use case for those QR codes. Learn more about our services, do something there. Just people are so used to now just to click, the scan, the stuff. Those A-frame signs are an amazing way to get messaging out and extremely cost effective.
Yeah. And I don't think you need to be in high traffic areas, because if the guys in our industry, they're usually, most of the guys are, land clearing, site prep, and septic.
Yeah. They're out like in a rural area.
But if you're doing septic repair and pumping, I don't care if 10 cars drive by. I guarantee you all 10 of them have a home with a septic system because of where they're located.
100%.
And everyone that drives by a land clearing job probably owns 1 to 100 acres that might need that service either, because landowners live next to landowners.
And what would you pay to get your messaging in front of those people? I'm sure it's more than a couple $100.
Absolutely. And that $100, I mean, that's a one-time fee. You can use them for free every day after that.
Over and over and over.
You know, so if you use them every day for a year, it's what, $1.10 a day to have 2 of those signs.
Pretty easy.
I always laugh, you know, and I'm bad about it too. The cost of marketing or advertising sometimes will scare me away from it.
Of course.
But like, you know, these guys in the excavation business dropping $200K on equipment, truck, and trailer, that's a necessity.
Yep.
$1,000 a month, I can't afford that. And it's like, no, does the data dictate you should or shouldn't do it? Because if you can find a system that consistently you put $1 in and it gives you $2 back, the cost per month should be irrelevant.
It's a vending machine I want to be putting $1 into every day.
Yeah. And then I'm like, well, how many dollars can I put into it every day? Amen. Until it slows down? Because everything's got a level.
Of course. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I actually helped a friend of mine. She launched this company that made these straps that go in your garbage can called Critter Clips, so raccoons can't open the lids. Yeah. And she was selling like 8 or 9, sets a day on Amazon.
Yeah.
And we dug into advertising. She's like, yeah, I'm spending $18 a day on Amazon. I'm like, how long have you been doing that? She's like, I don't know, 6 months. And I'm like, have you tried $25 a day? No. Why not? Never crossed my mind. And I'm like, well, keep adding $1 to $3 to $5 a day until you see the conversion percentage start to decrease, then lower the budget to where, but you could get up to $100 a day. And if you go from 8 orders to 80, the 100's irrelevant.
I think it just goes to like, no one told us all the stuff that was going to get really hard when we started our business. And when you get into things, especially the things you're not inherently good at, which for a lot of us can be marketing, I think it's just looking at like, where do you really want to go? How much capacity do you have to grow? Like, let's say you were maxed out. What would that look like? Is that what you want to be? Kind of just backing it out. I think what you're great about so many industries for your guys' audience is like, it's high ticket, it's high margin, it's hard work. And so like understanding how to get your messaging in front of the right customers and not looking as much of a shotgun approach, but how do you solve those like repetitive problems for the same customers?
Absolutely. And if you're newer in business, yeah, I get it. You got to find some sort of a system to get you work today, the next week, next month. But you also need to be developing your brand strategy, because there will be a day where 80% of your marketing budget goes to branding and not offers and specials.
Absolutely.
And that's when the machine can run on autopilot.
Amen.
Because otherwise you find is guys are slow. They spend money on ads. They get some work. Then they quit spending money on ads because they're busy. Then the jobs get done and now they're slow. So and it's just like a vicious cycle of peaks and valleys.
Tough.
Where the guys that have developed a consistent brand, their trucks are wrapped, their flyers are out, they've got these signs, or the TV news commercials that you can buy 1,000 for a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
Those guys, they may not have the high peaks, but they don't have the low valleys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm excited to be partnering with you. I was really glad that you were open to the vision.
Sure.
About this. I mean, this is something these guys absolutely need. Definitely. Like, again, what do we got on there? We've got business cards, flyers, trifolds, A-frames, yard signs. I don't think the direct mail is on there because that's a whole different program.
We're going to get into that eventually once we get to
we should be able to put a link in there that at least can direct you to you guys and say, hey, I want to learn more about this service. Because that software is really cool.
We just made it easy. Direct mail inherently is very hard with what goes into it. And we just took a different approach from it where it should be a little bit more affordable. It should be a little bit more targeted. And just like those Facebook ads we talk about, just a little bit easier to set up than the nuts and bolts and hoops you got to jump through to traditionally set up a direct mail campaign.
Well, I mean, I'm not a direct mail guy. And when you guys walk me through that software, and you can basically put the address of the house you just did the project for, you've got some filters, price, value, home age, a couple other things.
Yep.
And then you say find the closest 10, 20, 50 homes that meet this criteria to this home.
Yep.
And then you just say, send mail, and your system takes it from there.
Click, click, click. Mail goes out the next day.
It was crazy. I was like, genius.
We have our moments. We don't have it all figured out, but it's where I just feel so good. There's just not a lot of people solving that problem that we're solving. We've been able to really get in, help a lot of business owners, but more than anything, just make it simple. We all need another job, probably like we need a hole in the head. And
right.
I think we've done as good of a job as we know how to make the direct mail part pretty easy.
No, I think you guys you got great branding. Your ads on social media look great. Your websites, your website is one of the reasons why I redesigned mine, because I'm like, look how clean it is. Look at how nice the products look. It's there for a purpose. And I'm like, I got to redo mine. So
constant improvement.
It was one of the spurs that drove this rebrand. And, we thought it was a perfect time to couple the rebrand of the website this week with the launch of the print shop.
Yep.
So we're hoping that guys take advantage of this. Our goal is to start adding more resources to the store for business owners and not just sell attachments.
Exactly.
Like, I want to become the hub for you to come say, hey, where do I get my direct mail? Hey, what CRM should I use? Hey, I don't know how to build a hiring process. Where should I go to get that? And like, whether we have the answer or not, at least find partners that can help you in specific areas.
Absolutely.
So, well, man, I can't thank you enough for one, the partnership, and two, jumping on the podcast today and talking marketing. This could be a 4-hour episode in my eyes.
Right.
There's got to be a stop some point, right?
Hey, man. No, dude, it was fun. I really appreciate you having me. Also very excited, our whole team, about the partnership. We know that you guys are the authority in this industry. And it's always,
man, I really appreciate it.
Right people. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you want to learn more about that, head over to skidsteernation.com, check out the print shop, and you can see what we have available in there. They've got a walkthrough process on what it looks like. So you place your order, then somebody from the team contacts them, helps with the design, then they get it shipped out very, very quickly. So it walks you right through that. Don't be hesitant about, I don't want a Skid Steer Nation branded yard sign. That's not what you're getting.
All custom design. Yeah, we got you.
All custom designed, and go from there. So awesome, man.
Ryan, I appreciate you, my man. This has been a pleasure. And for anyone that we get in connection with or anyone using this store, we really look forward for the opportunity to work together.
Awesome. Well, guys, keep the hands on the sticks. Keep the ears in the podcast. It sounded terrible. Ears in the pod. Who the hell has ears in a podcast? Keep listening to the podcast, getting more knowledge, learning, growing as a business owner. We're here to help you and assist you in that. If you want more help than what the podcast provides, head over to groundbreakinggrowth.com and schedule your free discovery call with me. Until next week, guys, take care.